Jai Hind, ladies and gentlemen. Today I, Swapnil Singh, is going to talk about a very crucial topic, that is one rank, one pension scheme related to the armed forces of India. So, recently, the bench of the Supreme Court led by Justice Chandrachud and Justice Suryakant upheld the decision of the government to implement the one rank, one pension scheme. What is it all about? We are going to discuss it with a brief introduction and also about its sort of history, right? So, one rank, one pension scheme is all about the armed forces of India, the defense personnel, in which there is a sort of policy as to which the defense personnel who have served the country for the same length of service and have retired at the same rank will be given the same pension regardless of when they retire. Mark my words, regardless of when they retire. For example, there are two soldiers A and B. Soldier A has retired after giving a service of 10 years in 2010. On the other hand, we have a soldier B who has retired on the same rank after giving a service of 10 years, but he retired in 2020. So the difference is that if there is not the implementation of one rank, one pension scheme, then the defense personnel who has retired later in 2020, he will get higher pension because he would be getting higher salary at that time, regardless of the officer A who had retired in 2010 will get lower salary because he will be getting lower pension, because he will be getting lesser salary because he had retired in 2010. So that was the some sort of discrimination in the pensions that were received by defense personnel. So for such a thing, to remove that sort of a discrimination, one rank, one pension is very eminent. And this is not something that is new. That was available even before. That we will of course talk in the history. Let us stick to the introduction about the one rank, one pension. So it has been implemented actually on the recommendations of the Bhagat Koshyari committee, and this scheme has to be continuously revised after every 5 years. So this is all about the introduction. Now actually let us dig into the history about this very particular scheme. This scheme had been into implementation till 1973. It was discontinued in 1973 by the then Prime Minister Ms. Indira Gandhi government, and armed forces had come, the defense personnel had come into a sort of you can say protest, and majorly it was because they had not just discontinued the one rank, one pension, but also reduced the pensions of the defense personnel. And at the same stage, on the other side of the coin, we have to see that they had hugely increased the pensions and salaries of the civil servants. Then in 2008, the UPA government astronomically increased the salaries and pensions of the civil servants, in retaliation to which hundreds of army veterans in protest gave up their honors and badges. And it was only in you can say 2015 that the NDA regime brought in the this one rank, one pension scheme back for the implementation, and under which the defense personnel who had retired before 30th June or up till 30th June 2014 would be covered under it, and it has been in implementation since 1st July 2014. So this was all about the history. And now let us talk about the advantages about the one rank, one pension scheme. Of course, I have already told it removes a sort of discrimination in the defense personnel who have retired at the same rank with the same level of service, but they get different sorts of pensions. So that discrimination has been removed. Secondly, it brings a sort of an attractiveness towards the armed forces, so more number of people would join it. And also we must say that it is favorable for the young soldiers too, because almost many of the soldiers retire at the very young age. So in that sense, it is somewhat favorable for those young soldiers too. And then let us also talk about the disadvantages of the one rank, one pension scheme. See, we have to admit the fact that there is a lack of records of personnel who had retired up to that event, that is before 2014, and we have to cover it since it had been discontinued in 1973. So for the past 4 to 5 decades they have not got the implementation of the one rank one pension scheme. So such number of personals in those 4 to 5 decades would be covered, and it is hard to get the records. Then coming on to the pressure on the exchequer, see, it is estimated that around 8,000 to 10,000 crores of money has to be dispersed for the petitioners or the pensioners, and it would be a huge cost on the exchequer. That is also a sort of drawback. And another valid point is that the other paramilitary forces can also have the same sort of an ideology to get into the ambit of the scheme, because other paramilitary forces like Seema Suraksha Bal are not considered under it. So these are some drawbacks, and hereby I think you would have got to know a lot about the one rank one pension scheme, starting about the introduction, about its history, about its advantages and disadvantages. So thanks a lot.